Imagine this. Your paycheck lands in your account. You feel rich, at least for a moment. Maybe you pay a little bit to reduce the balances on your credit cards, buy a few things you've been eyeing, maybe treat a couple of friends to dinner. Then before you know it, your account is running on fumes, and you're reaching for your credit card to bridge the gap. Or even worse, going to a payday lender to get a cash infusion to sustain you until your next payday. Sounds familiar? In isolation, the things we just described don't sound that bad. Paying off some credit card debt, that sounds like a sensible thing to do. Buy a few things you've been wanting. Well, we're all human, right? And paying for dinner for your friends? Isn't that just what good friends do? But the overarching misstep here is spending your paycheck without a plan. This is like shooting in the dark. You just won't hit your targets or achieve any of your goals. Paying off debt, for example, needs to be done in a structured and measured way. Paying a little bit here and a little bit there probably won't solve your debt problems the way you wanted. This scattergun type of approach to handling finances, unfortunately, is widespread. A startling statistic reveals that a significant number of individuals, including those earning sizable salaries, often find themselves living paycheck to paycheck. This cycle of unmanaged spending creates a financial vulnerability that's hard to escape. So what should you do instead? The answer is to put a money plan in place. In other words, to have a budget and stick to it. Let's walk through the 8 practical steps of drawing up a budget and then implementing it to regain control over your finances. Step 1. Assess your income. First up, let's talk about assessing your income. This is more than just glancing at your paycheck amount. For total coverage, you need to consider every source of income you have. This could be your main salary, any part-time jobs, freelance gigs, side hustles, rental income, or even occasional earnings, or cash that comes in every few months rather than every month. Add all these up to get a clear picture of your total monthly income. Remember, we often underestimate what comes in, so be thorough and precise. This total is what you have to work with each month, so knowing this number is crucial. It sets the stage for everything else in your budgeting process. Accurate and comprehensive income assessment is your first step towards financial clarity. Step 2. Track your spending. Next is tracking your spending, and we can't stress enough how vital this step is. For a month or two, jot down every single expense, no matter how small. There are several ways to do this. You can use a budgeting app, which links to your bank account and categorizes expenses automatically. Or, if you're more traditional, go old school with a notebook or a spreadsheet. The key here is consistency and honesty. Track everything, from the big stuff like rent and car payments, to the small daily buys like your morning coffee or that snack from the vending machine. And don't forget those online purchases. This step is eye-opening. You'll start to see patterns, and maybe even some surprises in where your money is actually going. It's about getting a true picture of your spending habits. Step 3. Categorize your expenses. Now let's categorize those expenses. Common categories include essentials like housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, and healthcare. Then, there are discretionary expenses. These are the wants, not needs, like dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, and shopping. Categorizing helps you identify areas where you might be overspending. Maybe you're spending more on dining out than you realized, or perhaps your subscription services are adding up. By neatly categorizing your expenses, you get a clear view of where adjustments can be made. This step is about understanding the what and where of your spending, setting you up for making informed decisions in the next phases of budgeting. Step 4. Set your financial goals. Think of this step as your personal financial roadmap. What are your destinations? Do you want to clear that nagging credit card debt? Maybe you're dreaming about a sunny vacation, or perhaps it's about time you started that emergency fund. And your goals should be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Instead of just saying, I want to save money, specify, I want to save $3,000 for an emergency fund in 1 year. This clarity will give your budgeting purpose and direction. And remember, it's totally okay to start small. Even saving a little can create momentum. Your goals are your motivation. They're the why behind every dollar you save or spend. Step 5. Create your budget. It's now time to create your budget, using the information from steps 1 to 4 earlier. This is where the magic happens, and where you take control of your money. Though in terms of choosing a type of budget, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. One popular method is the zero-based budget, where every dollar of your income is allocated to specific expenses, savings, or debt payments, ensuring no money is left unaccounted for. This method is great for meticulous planners, but can be time-consuming. Another approach is the 50-30-20 budget, where you allocate 50% of your income to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt repayment. It's simpler and offers more flexibility, but might not be as effective for those needing strict financial discipline. There's also the cash envelope system, particularly useful for controlling spending in specific categories. Cash is allocated into envelopes for each expense category, limiting spending to what's in the envelope. This method is great for visual and tactile learners, but can be less practical in today's digital world. Whichever method you choose, the key is consistency and regular review to ensure it aligns with your changing financial goals and circumstances. Also, check out the link in the description for more details on the pros and cons of the different budget types. Step 6. Monitor and adjust. You've now set up your budget, so let's talk about staying on track. A budget is definitely not a set and forget deal. Your life isn't static, and neither should your budget be. This is where monitoring and adjusting come in. Picture your budget as a living, breathing entity that needs to adapt as your life changes. Maybe you get a raise, have a new expense, or maybe you've paid off a debt. Your budget needs to reflect these changes. It's like being a captain of a ship. You need to adjust your course as the winds change. Regularly review your expenses. Are you overspending in one category? Do you need to tighten the belt, or can you afford to loosen it a bit? The idea here is to be responsive, but not reactive. A monthly check-in is a good practice. It keeps you in control and ensures that your budget remains an effective tool for your financial wellness. Step 7. Stay disciplined, but flexible. Sticking to a budget requires discipline, no doubt. It's like sticking to a healthy diet or a workout routine. But just as with dieting, if you're too rigid, it's easy to get frustrated and give up. So, allow yourself some wiggle room. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes you'll have unexpected expenses, or you might just want to treat yourself. That's okay. The key is to plan for these moments. Maybe set aside a small fund or an unexpected expenses category in your budget. Think of it as a safety valve that prevents your financial plan from becoming too pressurized. Remember, the goal of a budget is not to restrict your life, but to enhance it by removing the stress of financial uncertainty. Step 8. Celebrate your successes. Every step towards your financial goal, no matter how small, is a victory. Did you pay off a bit of debt? Save up for an emergency fund? Stick to your budget for a whole month? That's fantastic. Take a moment to acknowledge your progress. Celebrating your financial milestones is crucial. You could treat yourself to a small reward, share your achievement with friends or family, or simply take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. This celebration isn't just about feeling good, it reinforces your positive financial behaviors. It turns budgeting from a chore into a rewarding journey. Remember, the road to financial wellness is a marathon, not a sprint. So cherish these milestones. They're the markers of your growing financial health and independence. Check out these videos next on other ways to up your savings game.